Well, summer is over, but many of us still have plenty of these from our ambitious COVID gardens. What do we do with them now? Tomato sauce seems to be the most common answer. So I followed Chef Nelia to Bob and Keek Phillips' Fawcett Creek Farm just south of Tillamook, with the hopes of picking fresh tomatoes for homemade sauce. When we arrived, Bob and Keek were busy filling an online order as part of the Food Roots Farm Table program. Avid travelers, the couple met in Keek's native Laos and were married in 2010. Soon after, they began planning on the land Bob's grandfather had homesteaded more than 100 years earlier.
I think I came here when I was a year old. My grandmother had lived here, and she moved over on Trascur, and my father bought this place then. At that time, it was 80 acres.
We eventually made our way to Keek's greenhouses to harvest tomatoes for Nelia's homemade tomato sauce. But being 2020, plans change.
I like making jam out of them too. Tomato jam.
Tomato what?
Jam.
I mean tomato jam.
Tomato jam. Oh, so good. That on your toast. Or you put it over like a delicate fish, like a roasted salmon or something like that. Put that on top.
Maybe we should do that instead of tomato sauce.
You know, yeah.
Why not? I've never even heard of that. I think we should do that.
You want to do tomato jam or tomato preserve instead? Yes. I'll give up my mommy's recipe.
So with that decided, we gathered up our harvest and headed to Pacific Restaurant to make the dish. All right, Nelia, what are we making today?
Well, today we are making tomato agridolce. And what we're using is the tomatoes that we picked out of Fawcett Creek's greenhouse. And they're pear tomatoes and just your regular cherry tomatoes. So we're gonna start off with making the gastrique. We're gonna start off with oil. We're going to saute our shallots first. Now we're going to lower down our temperature and add the garlic. All right, now that our garlic is somewhat not carbonized, but caramelized, we're going to add our tomato paste. So just like making jams or jellies or preserve, now this is the time we will add our sugar. And let that blend properly. So now our gastrique is ready. So we're going to add our rice wine vinegar. So now that our vinegar is reduced, we're going to add our cherry tomatoes. Okay. We're gonna let that cook for 2 hours. So at this point, you can either put this in a container, keep it in the refrigerator, or you can actually put it in jars like what I've done here.
Nelia then gave us several examples of how to use the tomato jam.
We're done, right? I hope so. Do you want me to do another dish?